Just cutting some watercolor paper here, but in any case, I'm gonna set it aside. Today I wanna show you one of, I think, my more meaningful paintings so far, which is this little puddle called Our Pond, which I really enjoyed working on. And I want to show you first why it's a really important one for me and my progression as a painter, and talk a bit about the process. So let's take it to the table. I'm going to turn on the 4K and really show you the details up close. Okay, so here it is in its full glory. Now, hopefully I will show you also the reference photo on the screen. Plus this is 4K. The video is going to be 1080, but I'm filming this originally in 4K so you can really see some of the details a little more clearly. Now, first off, why it's meaningful. So every once in a while, of course, it is super important to produce work just for the sake of producing, for the sake of creating, the joy of creating, right? And that's something that I don't do nearly enough. But sometimes it's also important to do a piece of work where not only you're fully immersed in it and you're creating for the sake of creation, but you're also pushing yourself to aim at something that you haven't tried to aim at before. In this example, it's a bit of a more realistic impression of a subject that's a little ephemeral, I guess, or temporary, this water puddle thing. And it was completely by accident. I just saw it and I thought it was a fantastic scene and just a beautiful looking thing, and I took a bunch of pictures of it. There was water dropping into the puddle from above, and I tried capturing a few good timings where you get to see the ripples really well. And this is the one that stuck with me, and so I decided to paint it. Of course, I had the benefit of working from a photo, working in the studio, and really having all the factors in my advantage and being able to edit the photo the way I wanted to get it to look just right. But regardless of that, my goal with this painting was to achieve, I guess, as accurate of a representation of the reference photo in some spots, and then to let other spots be maybe a little more impressionistic and a little looser. So as you can guess, around the puddle itself, and even I'd say including the highlights around it, I tried going for something that is very accurate, but around it I let it go a bit, and that was my purpose with this one, to get that nice little balance. And I think it works in terms of there are a few very clear shapes, like this part that's well lit that reflects the sky, and maybe you see some rocks through it, and then the shadowy areas of the puddle where you actually see reflections of buildings and different things around the puddle, and then everything that's around it, that's one, and then maybe two and three very distinct shapes. Now, one of the most important things I wanted to work on is that nuanced control of wet in wet and of lifting. So what you see here is those details underwater that are visible only where the buildings cast their shadows, or reflections rather, not shadows, and then you can see through the water, quote unquote, as opposed to this section where it just reflects the sky and it's super light, so you can barely see any details underneath it, right? You can barely make up some stones and rocks. My goal was to improve that very nuanced control of wet and wet, where I charge to darken and I lift to lighten up, and to paint these in one go, truly, to not have to glaze at all. And I'm proud to say I didn't have to glaze in both of these. Both of these I just did in one go, and it's very rare for me to be able to do that. I usually have to revisit something and really try and darken it more and more, and that just wasn't an option here, because you want to get these shapes in one go and that's it. So let me show you a few of the details a little up close. And I'm also going to show you probably a scan of it, or I showed you already, which I think is really the best way to see it accurately. This little thing here, these little details, they're not hard to do. It's just like drawing. You just look at the line and draw it as you see it, or the shape. The more challenging aspects are those details under water, where it's blended, it's through the filter of these water, and maybe it's the mud, and so it's a little brownish green. Those are the things that are really hard. Now, one key aspect of this was actually to print out the photo and have it in front of me. Let me check if I have it here, actually. Weird, so I must have thrown it out. I was sure I have it, but regardless, of course, you get to see it on the screen. But the major important part of it was being able to place this physically on the photo and actually see the colors a little more accurately compared to a screen, right? I always recommend, if you can, also print a photo. It just helps better seeing the nuances. Like this difference here is so subtle. It's sometimes hard to see these kinds of things on the screen. But I guess, yeah, this is it. This is the painting. Feels pivotal. It's something I allowed myself to take a bunch of my time, if I can say that, a bunch of hours, and just really work quietly and make sure that it looks just the way I want and that I'm able to recreate all of these small parts. And I do think it is important to, once in a while, not only, of course, create for the sake of creation, which is already something I don't do nearly as much, but also challenge yourself to take your time once in a while, maybe. Once in a while, maybe work slower rather than, faster, which is fine. Fast is good. I love painting fast, right? It has a magic to it. But sometimes there's something nice about tackling these scenes where you really allow yourself to get everything to look right and take your time and really paint a wash, take a break if you have to, paint another wash, get prepared mentally, it's just a bit of a different experience and fun. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed this quick one. Let's wrap it up. So just to wrap it up real quick, I hope you enjoyed seeing this painting, and I will mention something important regarding the watercolor realism course. I'm gonna launch it probably this Thursday's live. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be launched there, so be sure to keep an eye out for it, because I will do everything. We'll go over it together. I'm going to show you the course's content, and I'll give you the option to finally purchase it and join. Whether you bought the frustration-free watercolor course or not, we're going to open it up so that you can see exactly what's in it. So be sure to join there on Thursday and be hyped for that. I'm going to show you again everything. There's so many good demos there that I think you'll find very, very valuable. I've been working on this one for a long, long time. I actually can't wait to launch it already. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. If you aren't subscribed and somehow this is the first video you discovered, please subscribe. We'll see you again real soon.